saw my father on the way up. Good sounding board for me. There's a one-word sentence that I'm not allowed to say in public. It was an expletive. That would probably be a quote. Truth be told, I know we're getting better. I can tell we're getting better. I enjoy watching us getting better. Too many mistakes, and I don't care if you coach midget football or you coach in the NFL, you cannot turn the ball over 4 times and win. Period.
Well, I guess along those lines, you know, first quarter you had 2 turnovers and you're still in the game. But I guess just, you know, felt
I mean, if you recall a year ago, if we turned the ball over 2 times in the first quarter against, I don't know, we played New Hampshire, it was some disgusting number, and we're out of the game, and everybody knows we're out of the game. And, you know, the good part about it is many times as we turn the ball over, you see the kids playing hard, and, you know, not that they're not going to play hard, that's the standard, but you see us fighting to get back in the ball game and doing it effectively to some degree. And that's something that you're looking for in the growth. And I'm just trying not to kill anybody or have a heart attack in the first quarter.
Every turnover is key. Like you're up 10-7, Chris runs out of bounds, you bring it Bart and fumbles. I was thinking that.
Casey, if you watch the previous games, when Chris makes long runs or big plays, long extended plays, the next play is usually a disaster because he's not a running back. He has the skills to play like a very good running back at times, but he cannot recover fast enough. He knows it too. And in 3 games prior, we said, you know what, if Chris does this, if he gets a big play, he gets a long run, we're going to put Bart because we know that's the progression. And then we didn't do it. We kept saying, all right, the kid will adjust, the kid will come back. And even now, Chris will tell you, when he does it, he's ready. He'll even look like I'm ready to come out. He knew he was coming out. I didn't have to say anything. And you know, part of the issue of what we're dealing with now is, you saw this today. We have 2 guys that are on the depth chart that can play running back that were here in the summer. That's it. We're using Tyler Wharton to spell those 2. You know, Booker's got if you guys don't know this, Booker's got a broken finger, like a snapped in half finger, and he's toughing it out. Tremaine's got a bad shoulder, and he's toughing it out. The rest of the guys that are on the roster, they're not playing because we don't want to play. They can't play. They've got, you know, Nigel's got a broken leg. Green's got something else wrong with him. I mean, they can't play. So to spell these guys, we put Tyler in the game. So the other guys aren't getting it because we still got games to play and reps to play. And if we lose, we almost lost Tremaine on Wednesday. He didn't practice Wednesday or Thursday. So doing the best with what we got from him.
You talked about the growth that you're seeing and you're continuing to see. Can you just talk about Alex Blake's performance tonight? Again, another bounce back game for him. And, you know, at the beginning of the year, even last year, he struggled with drops an awful lot. And I know that, you know, those are things that, those are make or break plays, but can you just talk about how he's been able to turn it on recently?
He's one of those younger kids that gets better all the time. Don't get, you know, I'm not blowing him up because he still dropped balls.
Yeah.
He dropped the ball tonight. And then, you know, the goal is, the standard is as a wideout that you catch everything. That's how good wideouts come. But you want to see the progression of youth. You want to see young guys get a little more consistent as they come. And as a second-year player, he's starting to show it.
Getting back to Chris, Rob, is it technique that these short passes are?
Somebody else asked me about this. You know, everybody knows he's got a live arm, and it's, you know, a very powerful arm. But the arm is not what makes you accurate. If you go back and look at Schaefer's old film, he doesn't have the strongest arm in the world. Danny Crowley had a decent strength arm, but the biggest thing is feet. You don't throw accurately with the arm, you throw accurately with your feet. And Chris knows that that's been one of his weaknesses. And, you know, the run around throw and stuff is okay, but when you're looking for precision, you need better feet. And while he's working on it, he's not to the degree where he should be.
Can you talk about Tom Ryan, who comes back these last couple games? I know he led the team in catches today, 7 catches, 77 yards. What's it like to have him back?
I tell you what you ask for as a coach is someone who truly loves the game of football. And that kind of attitude and feeling is contagious. Tommy has that. He loves to play football. You know, there's a lot of kids that play football that don't want to get hit. Part of football is getting hit, and he enjoys being hit because that's part of the game. He enjoys hitting people. He enjoys catching, and the more Tom plays, it's kind of like a fire. The more Tom plays, the bigger the fire gets, and more people get involved in the fire. And you know, his knee is not the greatest, and he's gonna be one of those players that's always gonna be like that. And he loves football so much, it ain't gonna matter.
Talk about the linebacking play. Maybe had Trevor Walker out, brought Brian in, and maybe Kyle's best game that we talked about back then.
Again, well, in Kyle's world, you know, he's a freshman learning a new scheme. He's got tremendous skills. We did not want to play him, period. We did not want to play him, but he has potential to be that good, and we had no choice. It continues to get better week after week after week. Trust me, I can already point out in my mind shortcomings in Kyle's game, so I'm not blowing him up either. But again, we gotta, you know, when McAloney, who played a lot early in the season, he's got a bum knee. Dante, who's, you know, turned into probably the best warrior on the defense in terms of the back seven, he's getting taped up day to day to just get as many reps out of him as he can. And you know, we played Brian Botan today, and Brian did some good things. He really did, but his inexperience showed. I mean, we're beat up at that position. There's a whole bunch of guys standing in sweatsuits on the sidelines that are linebackers.
Because of the secondary issues, did you have to play more zone than you wanted? There's a lot of time for approach to come.
Let me tell you what, I give a defensive staff a lot of credit in trying to cover up two guys. You're replacing two starters because of suspensions. You're trying to cover up a guy that you know, in Division I football, you don't move a guy from wide out to corner and start him. I mean, you don't move the guy, last year, Ben, you don't move the guy from defensive line. But when there are no other guys that are eligible to play, this is what you have to do. And I give our staff a lot of credit for trying to put our kids in the best position to be successful with what we had and who we could play with at the time.
Did that bother the pass rush a little?
A little. When you're putting the total pressure on the defensive line to get home, you can't bring too many linebackers, because if you do, you put guys out to dry. And you give Justin Harris all the credit in the world. You know, he got beat, but he's a savvy enough football player, period, that he gets beat, he gets run by, screw it, I'll take the PI and not give up the 6. That's a damn good football player there.
Can you talk about, you know, the main cause with the penalties? You know, is it just brain farts? Is it?
Well, there's a lot of penalties of aggression, and this happens on both sides of the ball.
Right.
And in today's game, you know, the hits to the helmet, all that, you know, the physicality stuff, that they're going to stay on top of that. And as right they should be. I don't want to see kids with concussions not be able to play and have head injury. I mean, Steve Jordan is still not going to play because of his head injury. Which brings Mr. Hurley, who's not going to play because he's got as far as the responding to aggression, my guys know that the second guy always gets called. And this is where the coaching comes in to the better degree, in that my guys know to play to the whistle, period. And we shouldn't be cheap shotting anyone. Now, the next level of that is when someone is talking, don't say that word, talking inappropriate language to you, that you don't respond. And my guys do a pretty good job at that. What I did see a couple times was some the opposing team's players with their hands in my guy's face. And you guys saw that too. And the difference was our guys responded twice. You know, Kyle's face mask penalty, I find it hard that you can actually call a face mask penalty when the guy's already tackled on the ground. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I'll go back and review the tape on that one. But there's got to be a greater, you know, there's 10 points in this game that had to do with penalties. That the drives were continued because we had stupid penalties. And some of those are young guys. You guys want to come to practice on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, you'll get to see the melody. You might actually get to see it at 5 o'clock in the morning on Monday morning if you care to get up there early.
One last thing. You can't win with 4 turnovers. You do. And then you don't protect the quarterback. It seems like the offensive line just wasn't their best.
Guys give it a lot of credit now. Don't just knock our offensive line. Defensive line at Rhode Island is a much improved defensive line and has been week after week after week. That's statistical. Go ask the boys in New Hampshire. if Rhode Island's defensive line is
Your
getting
left
better.
tackle hasn't been beaten a lot this year.
He's been beaten, no, he's been beaten a lot in the last 2 games.
Last year, okay, so-
Because he's a redshirt freshman offensive tackle whose body is starting to wear down from a year of war. And we're rotating 2 guys at offensive tackle, we don't have anybody else. And we're recruiting guys and training guys and building guys, but that's, in that case, it is what it is. And Dougie Shaw got beat, Dougie Shaw held. Dougie Shaw's a redshirt freshman, he was backing up Steve Jordan, he was playing his rear end off and doing the best he can do. You know, as far as Chris has got hit in the back twice in 2 games, and both resulted in fumbles. But as far as the number of sacks, the number of hurries, the number of rushes, and the number of negative yards, I know, I can say for a fact we're improving. It ain't good enough to win, I can tell you that. It ain't good enough to win. And, you know, turnovers, you turnovers, call them how you want them. Turnovers ain't gonna win you ball games.
And can you just comment on the suspension of those Conner, Ford, and
Sure, the violation of team rules, continual violation of team rules. And as much as this was a hard thought out thing. Suspending 2 starters is something you never want to do. But no player is above the team, and no team is above the program. That this program is having a foundation laid for years and years to come that has to do with representing this institution on and off the field, academically and athletically, the right way. And if these guys aren't going to do it, then they're going to be held accountable. And they learned a valuable lesson because we went into this game shorthanded because of their decisions. And I'm hoping that this was an educational experience that they can learn from, and that the players in the locker room can learn from, that we need not go back here.
Is it a 1-week thing, or is it?
It'll be reevaluated tomorrow.
Anything else?
If it continues, you have to move another player, another chess piece to defense, or?
I can't prognosticate that far. Ask me, I told you, if you guys would just ask me all this stuff on Monday, I'd have a lot better, you know.
That's another.
But, you know, and I'd like to say this, I'd like to thank all the alums that came back. That it was a great feeling seeing these guys, hearing these guys, having them here. I wish we could have presented them something greater to take home with them. The only thing I hope that they saw was a team that fights harder, is more improved than they were a year ago, and is worthy of the respect that this place deserves.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.